base erosion and profit shifting. Now this particular term is in news, which we will understand in detail the concept of it with respect to UPSC requirement. All right. So first things first, why is this particular thing in news? That is because the 16th meeting of the OECD and G20. OECD is the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, and the G20 countries took place on base erosion and profit shifting. It just got concluded. So with respect to this, they were to discuss, and they have discussed, the inclusive framework to address this base erosion and profit shifting. So first thing, understand that base erosion and profit shifting is a negative thing, or you can say could be termed as illegal. Of course, it is a method of tax avoidance. We will see in detail. To fight that, it is a big challenge. So to fight that, this meeting took place to come up with an inclusive framework. Now what is this inclusive framework that we are talking about? Okay. So this inclusive framework is on base erosion and profit shifting, known as BEPS. Okay. With 147 countries and jurisdictions. 147 countries and jurisdictions. Why are we saying 147 countries and jurisdictions? This is also very important to know. See, there are some countries still which has many other jurisdictions in it, and that is because of either the colonial legacy which is there, or due to various other reasons. For example, one thing I would like to tell you is, if there is this probably goes into the realm of geography. So in geography you might have studied time zones. Now if the question comes, which country has the most number of time zones, we may think it's Russia, because of the vastness of the country, right? But as I said, colonial legacy, jurisdiction. So what has happened is, if the option also has, if they say which among the following, and Russia is one of the option, and the second option which I am going to give, if that option is not there, then you can take Russia. But if the option of France is also there, then France would be the right answer, because it has the highest number of time zones. Now that is because, see, France is very small, Russia is like vast, France is small, but there are many jurisdictions which is governed by France throughout the world at different places, which also comes under France, and hence is considered as France's time zone. That is why it is spread. So that is what jurisdiction means, that this might be a particular region but under the jurisdiction of another country, not an independent country in its own self. That is why the concept of 147 countries and jurisdictions. I hope that's clear. Of course, it includes India as well. How is it including India? You can see this, OECD and G20. India is a part of G20. So India is included over here. It fights tax avoidance and promotes fair tax practices. So base erosion and profit sharing is a method of avoiding taxes. So this particular framework is going to fight the tax avoidance, and it is going to promote fair tax practices through two things, two-pillar approach. So that means inclusive framework consists of two-pillar approach. We'll see that two-pillar approach as well. Before that, let us understand what is base erosion and profit shifting. So what happens is, there are multinational companies, there are companies in different countries, and now we live in a world of globalization, right? Globalization, trade is going on among the countries throughout the world. So what happens, let's say someone established in a company in country X, right? Now this company is making a lot of profit. Now the issue is, there can be another country. Why? There are many other countries. Now the thing is, the countries differ in their taxation system, the countries differ in the percentage of taxes. So the amount of taxes they impose. So let's say this company is in country X, which imposes 30% of corporate tax, and now this company is, let's say, Cayman Islands. Now this company imposes 0% tax, right? So if you would have opened your company over here, wouldn't you have been in benefit? Wouldn't you have benefited? Of course yes, because whatever profits you are making, there is no tax. So then why did you open here? Because probably that's where you live. Or not just that, it's not about where you live, it is more about where your business will run more. Right, if you put it in Cayman Island, products are produced there, then you transport that over here, then the labor requirement, all those things, labor and all, you would not find that cheap. So let's say for example, you are in India. India, you find cheap labor, huge market, so you open your company in India. But then India has these many taxes. So what do? Profit shifting. You shift your profit to Cayman Islands. Now how do you do that? To do that, we'll see how do we do that. But what is happening, understand, you are shifting your profit to another country so that you have to pay taxes based on the country where you are shifting the profit. And here you will show either no profit or rather you will show losses. Whatever it is, you are shifting the profit completely here and hence not required to pay taxes and hence avoiding the taxes. We'll see how that is done. So what does base erosion and profit shifting mean? It refers to the corporate tax planning strategies. So it is a corporate tax planning strategies. You plan your taxes, right? How I can get tax rebate, how I can pay as minimum tax as possible. You do that. So it is one of the tax strategies. Now, I said it can be considered as illegal, right? It is by OECD and G20 considered illegal, but actually, they are not going against any rules. They are just finding the loopholes, and that loopholes exist because different country has different tax structure, tax system, tax rules and guidelines, right? So it becomes very complex and hence OECD and G20 are fighting against that. Okay? So it is a strategy used by, of course, multinationals for what? For shifting the profits from higher tax jurisdictions to lower or no tax jurisdictions. I hope that's clear. Now, this is the definition. So OECD has defined BEPS strategies as exploiting gaps and mismatches in tax rules. So basically exploiting the loopholes. They are not going against any law as such and doing illegal thing. They are basically exploiting the gaps and the mismatches, basically exploiting the loopholes. So because of that, what happens? It erodes the tax base of the higher tax jurisdiction. So it has eroded the tax base. 30% was supposed to be paid, now nothing would be paid. So the tax base, this company does not pay, so one company is less which is paying taxes. So the base of the tax is eroded. So base erosion. Why? Because the profit was shifted, so hence profit shifting. So this is the concept of base erosion and profit shifting. Now, how does it work? So let us look at the steps of doing this. Now the tax is levied on the multinational company by the government. It will be the percentage of the profit. For example, we took it to be 30%, let's say. Now, using the loophole, what this company will do? It will shift its income or profit to another country which could be a tax haven. Tax haven is a country with very low or no taxation. That is what a tax haven is. Remember spelling. It's not H-E-A-V-E-N, heaven, that is Jannat. It's not that. Okay, it is a haven. H-A-V-N, heaven. Tax haven. Okay. Now because of it, what happens is the multinational company now does not have to pay a higher tax, right? Generates its revenue, does not get any tax, or there is tax erosion due to the shifting of income or profit. So either they do not pay any taxes or pay reduced amount of taxes. Now one thing to be remembered, how can I transfer my profit to another country? So there also they will open their branch or another company. So if I have opened company A in X country, I will open company B in Y country. I will earn the profit in here, but I have to pay 30% taxes, I will transfer the profit to my either subsidiary company, a sister company, or let's say a branch of the company, and say that the profits are made there, and hence pay very low or no taxes. Now what are the impact? Impact is very clear, especially happens in developing countries. Developing countries will be more impacted. They need money more, and they are not getting. So of course the impact would be higher. Even the value could be same, but the impact would be higher because they have higher reliance on corporate income. So they suffer disproportionately. Now, what are the efforts? Now, OECD and G20 working together came up with the inclusive framework on BEPS. Over 135 countries and jurisdictions are collaborating for implementation of the measures which they have talked about. We'll see what the two pillars are. Improving the coherence of international tax rules. What is coherence? Meaning, let's say, complementing, making it less complex, easier, closing the loopholes, because this is happening because of the loopholes. So close those loopholes, ensuring a more transparent and transparent tax environment. Okay. Now they came up with the objective statement. The objective statement talked about a package of implementing the two-pillar solution. So we'll see what two-pillar solution is. Two-pillar solution and the global anti-base erosion rules. Okay. So let us see the two-pillar solution and the key elements therein. The first pillar is reallocates profits of larger MNEs, multinational enterprises. You can call it the same as MNCs. So what they are doing here is taxing right over 25% of the residual profit of the largest and the most profitable MNE reallocated to the jurisdiction where the customers and users of MNE are located. Let me explain this point. So if you are a multinational company, let's say your name is ABC. Now you have a branch in country X, you have a branch in country Y. Okay? Now here you made a profit of 10 million. Here you did not make any profit. Here you made a profit of 10 million because your subscriber base or your customers are majorly concentrated here, right? But you shifted your profit here. So now as per this rule, it says that it doesn't matter where you shift the profit. Who paid it? This country's customers paid it. So what is your customer base in which country? In this country. So boss, 25% tax would be charged on this no matter whether you transfer that or not, and all the countries have agreed to this particular thing. Okay? I cannot sell everything here and show the profit there and pay the taxes there. You have got profit because of the presence in this particular country, hence you pay the taxes here. So even if they shift the profit, 25% of the taxes on profit is reallocated in this country. Reallocation, boss, take it back, reallocated, right, to the jurisdiction where the customers and users of MNCs are located. Where the customers, very important, where the customers and the users of MNEs are located. Okay. Plus, it also talks about tax certainty through 7 mandatory binding dispute resolution. Tax certainty as in whatever disputes are there, resolve it and make it binding. Okay? Make it binding. Now, this should be pillar 2. So, pillar 2 establishes a global minimum corporate tax. Global minimum corporate tax as in global we are saying, but here global means all the 135 plus jurisdiction that is involved. Those who are not a part of it may not implement this. Okay. So this framework basically ensures fairness in tax systems, addresses tax avoidance, right? Because minimum you are taxing only, right? At least if these 135 countries and jurisdictions which are there, if they have a minimum tax of let's say 15%, then at least you cannot shift your profit from one of the country of 135 to another country among the 135. At least we should solve our issues. There should not be such a situation wherein someone transfers their profit from one of the 135 countries to another 135 country, to another one of the 135 country. Okay, so at least these jurisdictions should have global minimum corporate tax, right? So that is what they are trying to do. Now this comes under the GLOBE rule, that is global anti-base erosion model rules. Global anti-base erosion model rule, which talks about global minimum tax of 15% on all MNEs with annual revenue of 750 million euros. So there is a capacity, any MNE which is having a minimum annual revenue of 750 would come under minimum tax of 15% globally as in throughout this entire 135 plus countries and jurisdiction. So this is what your base erosion and profit shifting is, and this is the present effort being taken by OECD and the G20 countries.